When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah, I feel like an astronaut in the ocean. Ay, what you know about rolling down in the deep? When your brain goes numb, you can call that mental freeze. When these people talk too much, put that shit in slow motion. Yeah.
All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of Archon's Corner. I am the one, the only, the WOOKIE, joined here today by just Mr. Ewok. What's up, Ewok?
Not much. Hello, Keyforge community. Great to be here with you, Wookie.
All right, but we're going to do this in two parts today. Unfortunately, Dan and Z are off on assignment, so they're going to be doing part two of this kind of whole little episode here. We're going to get Unfathomable done all in kind of like, I guess, 1 week. And we're here going to be doing, what are we doing? Evil Twins and the Rares. And they're going to do the rest on another day. But first, we got some shout-outs to give. What do we got, JR?
So first big piece I want to do is give huge accolades for the AC regulars. They have successfully made the top 8 of Code. So well done, Z, Tez, and Joker. And that's a huge, huge piece because they are the only North American team that is still left. So we wish them the best of luck in Coat. And congratulations to everyone who has been playing and having fun with Coat. But awesome job, AC regulars.
Awesome job. What else we got going on? You got Drazkor and Jupiter. What's going on with them?
So there was a recent podcast that was put out by Drazkor and Jupiter with KFPL podcast on Heart of the Forest. Jason came and visited, and definitely want to give a shout out. Take a peek. I know there's a lot of hate in the Keyforge community in regards to Heart, but there was a lot of insight brought in by Jason, who's a phenomenal player for playing Heart and just a good player overall. But it gives you some insight, and so I'd recommend checking that out. And I know it led me in a little bit deeper with Drazkor and Jupiter, so thanks, guys, for producing that, and keep it going. And then on the following up, I also stumbled across Captain's Compod. So if you haven't seen that, shout out to PJ. He's a little bit newer in this. It looks like it's back about 2 months. But as we get a little bit warmer weather, as I get out to do some mowing, I'm searching for more content. And it's great to see these different podcasters out there. I know Jupiter and Drazkor, you've been around for quite a while, and I appreciate that. But it's good to see everyone who's stepping up. And if you're someone who's interested in podcasting, again, it's not rocket science, but we love to see anyone just adding their own 2 cents into this great game that we love.
Absolutely. And big congrats to Help from Future Self from reaching their 100th episode. We really recently passed. What did you say? We're at 105 right now? Yeah, this is actually 106 for us. So it's crazy to see that you've been around for that period of time, Wookie. But we appreciate everything that all of these podcasters and the community as a whole is doing. So congratulations. And that there's a quad over there in Help from Future Self with Rickster, Alex, Blake, and Sydney. Yeah, 100 episodes is no joke. Most podcasts fizzle out within, I forget what episode mark it is, but I think it's like 25 or something like that.
Yeah, that's crazy to think about. 100 episodes, just pushing them out once a week and being able to keep things going. So
takes a lot of discipline, I'll tell you that much. But you got a special shout out you want to give.
Yeah, you guys can't see in podcast land what I am holding and smelling. Nice little sniff here. But today happens to be Thursday, and as I got home from work, my beautiful, beautiful wife went ahead and ordered from our Canadian friends some Dark Tidings. So I was holding and sniffing right there a box of Dark Tidings. And I'll say I struggled kind of going back and forth. I know I have some coming from our U.S. market, but I have a birthday that's coming up very, very, very soon at the beginning of May. And so it was an early birthday present that she surprised me with. And I have to say, waiting until the 16th, I was planning on it. Nothing against TCO because, oh goodness, they have kept us alive for the last month, and I appreciate them so much. But I was really hoping that I could jump on TCO and just play some Dark Tidings sealed. And I can't do that.
Not yet.
Not yet. And I understand there's a lot that goes kind of in the background, but that helped push this over for my wife because I was talking a little bit about it. I did borrow some decks from Rickster just so I could try something out. So again, thanks Rickster for letting me use some of your decks. just see what this new set is all about. I know there's been a lot of hype, and we've been waiting 10 months. So I don't usually crack, but this time with the birthday a week away, it helped for me to be able to say, yeah, we can go ahead and splurge a little bit. So I'm excited. I have not opened it yet. It is sitting right there next to me, still sealed. So tonight after the podcast, we'll have to at least open one. So thank you, Tara, my beautiful wife.
So I have I have a little joke that I want to say this week. One of my coworkers brought this to me. And it's kind of a pirate joke. So, what is a pirate's favorite letter of the alphabet?
Okay, I teach 5th grade, so I'm going to go with R.
You'd think it'd be R, but really, it's the C.
Oh.
Come on! That's a good one!
I'm hanging my head, and this is why we're all dads.
Yeah, I loved it. I was a big fan. So let's get into our unfathomable, our sea critters, as Dan calls them.
Yes. So on the other half, you will probably hear a little bit more about OP and actual events. Please keep checking out those events. I know that KFPL has goodbye to DIS essentially. So a tournament this upcoming weekend where DIS is not allowed. But check that out. Hopefully the other podcast coming from, well, it's our podcast, but the other half from Z and Dan will be coming out shortly. So if
they'll be doing all the good cards, because the rare cards typically aren't the good ones.
And we see them in a much less it has less of an impact on the actual gameplay, in my opinion, just because this is so heavily focused for commons.
Right.
So, yes, if you are here for the podcast, but you don't want spoilers, if you're still, well, you'd have to be American at this point to not have it. Anyone who has not seen Dark Tidings, there's only a few of us remaining.
Yeah, I have 0 decks, none, not a one. I'm waiting. So I was gonna go buy a box from our Canadian friends, and I didn't, but. Maybe
you are good.
That might change. I'm not sure. The more people buy them, the more I'm really having the struggle of not going forward. But let's get into some cards.
All right.
Card number 306. Flamegill Enforcer, 6 power, 0 armor Aquin. After the opponent raises the tide, enrage Flamegill Enforcer. Action. Steal 1 Ember.
Yeah, so kind of bouncing back and forth. This does fall as a common. I can see where you have 6 power. In my opinion, the action steal 1 is decent, but with the tide effect, I'm not super excited about this.
I'd have to look up Enraged.
Well,
Enraged says the creature must fight if able, right?
Yes.
But does that prevent him from taking an action?
Yeah, if he was able to, he has to be able to fight, is my understanding. So if there's no creature out, it's still fine, but Enrage...
I'm going to have to take a look at that. That actually, thinking about that, if he must fight if able, when a creature becomes enraged, place an enraged status counter on it. When a creature with enraged it must be used to fight. Okay. So, actually, that made this card tremendously worse.
Correct.
Because he'll basically more or less be enraged all the time.
Yeah, and so the issue is the steal isn't a huge impact. You're not getting a reap with steal, so it really is impacting them. And honestly, a difference of 1, in my opinion, is not going to be large enough. And when you really need to make sure that you have it, he can just be enraged, and then you can't do anything with it. Mm-hmm. So I think we've talked long enough about Flamegill.
Yeah, let's move on to his good version. What do we got for his good version?
Sure. His good version is card number 355. A little scrolly. All right. Flamegill Enforcer is also 6 power, 0 armor, Aquin. With the tide effect, after your opponent raises the tide, enrage Flamegill Enforcer, action, capture 3. Also a common.
So, very similar. not very good. He might see something in sealed play, but probably not. I mean, capture 3 is okay. I'd rather have steal 1 than capture 3, but either way, he's going to be enraged.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'd rather have the evil in this if we're comparing apples and, well, evil apple. But I'm not really super wowed by this.
Yeah, I'm really not either. So, unfortunately, he's a common, so you're going to see him. Boo. Let's get to the Gilt Spine Netcaster. 2 power, 0 armor. Aquin. He does have enhanced 2 capture. Reap. Ready and use a non-Aquin friendly creature. I dig this.
Yeah, I'm okay with this. I don't have major issues. I like the little bit of cheating. You need to have some other creature that's out, but I'm fine with it. It's also bringing in the 2 enhanced capture pips.
Yep.
So that is nice to be able to see. I think the key piece being here, you're getting a reap, and then it's a ready and use. So I can actually toss out another Unfathomable and then be able to use it right away.
As long as it's not an Aquin. But there are plenty of beasts in, well, at least 2 beasts.
Correct, but I'm picturing Mars from basically Coda and AOA, and this is very, very nice. Yeah. And I didn't see the aspect of ready plus the 2 enhanced. So I think this is a step up, and I'm happy with this.
The only problem is he's 2 power.
Correct.
So he's probably getting punted.
Well, so I don't know if I necessarily agree with that. A lot of the icons that are showing up for enhancements in Dark Tidings happen to be capture pips. We're seeing a lot less damage. And so damage from MM, where all of a sudden you're plunking off with 1 or 2, I don't know if that's necessarily the case here. So we'll have to see with a little bit more playtesting. But
yeah, but he's not. He doesn't have elusive. He doesn't have anything like that. So I mean, anything that just runs into him kills him.
The wind blows and he will die.
That's right.
The end result is we'll have to see. All right.
Fair enough. What do we got for his good guy?
Yeah, card 357, Gilt Spine Netcaster. 2 power, 0 armor, Aquin with enhanced 2 capture. Reap, exhaust a creature.
Now,
what do you think?
I like this one. I've been wanting, and the only reason I like this is because this is a mechanic I've been wanting. And you're going to hear my daughter in the background. Sorry, guys. My middle child is at the Girls on the Run. So, but I've been wanting this mechanic, this kind of control mechanic, where I am manipulating my opponent's board more than just fighting them. And having it on a Reap is great. So I get my 1 Ember, and I can put something down, at least for the turn, on their side. I've wanted this mechanic, just like I've wanted the discard mechanic for a while. I'm glad we're seeing it. But again, problem 2 power, no armor. He dies to somebody farting. Probably not going to be around too long.
Yeah. In the common slots, you're going to see quite a few of them, which means you can actually, have a bit of enhanced capture pips. I think the Evil Twin version out of the 2 is a much better piece. I have no problem with the Reap Exhausted Creature, but I'm going to tell you, I would much rather get the usage from Reap, Ready, and Use. Mm-hmm. The ability to go ahead and Ready and Use. Ready it's really, really nice. So I'd much rather take the Evil Twins on both of those so far.
Yeah. I mean, I like them both. Again, I'm curious to see more of Unfathomable as we go along, but if there is an opportunity where, like, hey, I get to Reap and just, like, kind of make it, and I guess this is the wrong way of saying it, but make it so you don't play Keyforge, at least on your board, I dig that mechanic. That's a mechanic I've liked, I've enjoyed, you know what I mean? So
I think they can pull off that mechanic now, WOOKIE, in that we've seen Worlds Collide and MM needing boards and having many, many creatures. I don't know if just having 1 creature is enough to really slow it down. So I like a mass exhaust. That's personally where I am. But I think against Coda, you never needed to keep a creature out. I didn't care. Right. Fine, go ahead and tap it. Big deal. If I needed it, there's a handful of creatures that are very, very good with their Reap effect.
Against Coda, it's probably not as strong, but there are a lot. I mean, pretty much every other set from AOA on well, maybe not AOA so much, but from at least Worlds Collide and MM, they need their creatures, and their creatures allow them to do the crazy shenanigans that they're allowed to do. And without them, if you're missing a key piece to the cog, it kind of it ends that.
So here's the question I have for you. If you're going to go ahead and call Unfathomable, and then you're reaping to exhaust, they have a 1/3 chance that they're playing, that they want to come back to that house and play.
True.
So that's that. So 2/3 of the time, it's not going to have any impact. The 1/3 becomes key creatures that are very, very important. Now you only get to exhaust one. And so you really have to make sure that it is extremely powerful.
Right.
I think in that state, yeah, it's great. It's very, very good.
I also think this is almost a pseudo. It is limited, but it's a pseudo, like, I'm going to help you decide what house you play next turn. Because if I look out there and my piece that I need, or even that creature, is now unusable to me this turn, do I maybe call a different house and go a different line? Z likes to say it. This game is filled
with micro decisions.
With micro decisions that will lose you the game. If I tap down that creature and you choose to take a different line, does that make you lose the game? I don't know. This is, again, as we go through the cards, we'll keep looking and seeing. I hope it's a mechanic we see more of, but we'll have to wait and see.
I agree with you in the mechanic. Would you rather have the creature exhausted or killed?
Well, I mean, obviously. Well, but here's the deal. I would rather have the creature killed, but not only does this net me 1 ember, I think it almost nets me 2, maybe 1.5 embers, we'll say, because now I've taken something away from you on your next turn.
You're true.
So, let's move into Horrid Sinon. I hope I pronounced that right. 2 power, 0 armor, beast creature, poison, and taunt. That's it. Other than that, very vanilla.
Yeah, and this is the 3rd common Evil Twin, so all 3 of these have been common so far. Considering it's vanilla, I like taunt. I like poison. I don't know if the armor... I don't know if the poison is really going to cause enough issues here, but by it having taunt and poison, that's a nice combo. The 2 power is very weak, but... it's not bad. It's not the worst card that I've seen. I will always take a taunt creature. So throwing in the poison, great. It can have some impact at times. Other times, it's not going to do anything.
He survives 2 to 3 fights and takes at least 2 creatures with him.
You think that he's going to survive 2 fights?
Yeah, more times than not, he'll survive the first fight.
Really? Okay.
Well, what's killing him?
Anything with 2 power or higher?
No, he's a 6 power creature.
Oh,
no, he's a 2 power creature. I'm sorry. Scratch that. Never mind. He's never surviving 2 fights.
Yeah, he's basically there to protect something short term and then die. But that taunt is still a key piece. And the poison can do something that you're going to maybe, again, that micro decision, force someone to think about what they're giving up. Right. Now, I think what we've seen from MM, and to a point here with Dark Tidings, is I have no problem sending some of these creatures in. They're not doing much for me.
Not a lot of the times you want them to cycle so you can get the play effect again.
Correct. So it's interesting seeing a really small taunter. That's what
I thought he was 6 power.
Yeah,
So never mind. Scratch that. He survives. He survives a fight. What's the good Horrid Sinon do for us?
All right. I don't know if I'd call it good, but card 359, Horrid Sinon, is a 4 power, 0 armor beast with poison. And again, this is a common creature, so just has poison. What are your thoughts?
I'm not mad at him, but I'm not thrilled to see him.
I am all about the Evil Twins in Unfathomable right here.
Yeah.
Poison, okay, he will be able to do, he or she, whatever the fish is, the fish, will be able to go ahead and stick around a little bit longer. But in my opinion, I would much rather have a taunter versus just straight up poison. I'll take the loss of 2 power for taunt.
Yeah, I probably would too. I mean, again, both of them are probably going to die rather quick. None of them, I think, move your game progression any further, any quicker.
Nope.
Maybe the taunt does if you're hiding something, and you need that extra turn just for them not to die, but that's about it. Let's move on to Kaup?
Let's...
Kaup?
Sure.
7 power, 0 armor, Aquin. You cannot play more than one card of each type each turn. Reap/fight. Discard any number of cards from your hand. For each card discarded this way, deal 2 damage to an enemy creature.
So my initial thought, this is an uncommon, so we did go to uncommon here. I like the constant effect. You cannot play more than one card. Oh wait, no. You cannot. No, I don't.
Yeah, we don't like that.
No. I don't like this. This be bad. See,
if you like losing, you might like it.
No, I don't think that's. Oh man, that constant ability is really, really bad.
That hurts a lot too.
Oh, it hurts a lot, and you have to be discarding cards that are coming from Unfathomable. So. No, this is not good. I don't think that the dealing 2 damage can make up for that. I really don't think that the 2 damage can make up for only playing one card of each type.
Let me read the good version. By good, it's not bad.
I was already going there.
2 power, 0 armor. Your opponent cannot play more than one card of each type each turn.
Yeah. This is card 341. Again, creature uncommon. And with uncommon cards showing up 2 to 3, potentially, I like this. This is more where I was already headed because I'd given up on the Evil Twin. The 2 powers, it's pretty flimsy. There's no question about that.
I like him, but he seems like a glass cannon. He's a hunting witch.
The fish, the aquan, the shrimp,
Yeah.
There is very little that's going to be needed to take it out, but it's like Ember Imp. You have to be able to deal with this. Your opponent cannot play more than one card of each type. So, on an average, I'm playing an action and a creature. Maybe I get a good turn where I have 3, but I have to have those 3 in my hand. No, I think this is the quote good version,
right?
Is much better, and the evil version, it's got too many issues that you're going to have to overcome. I just do not see that. The 7 power, I don't care about it.
The regular version definitely kills combo decks.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really know what it does to a heart deck. Probably definitely going to slow it down.
Heart's not necessarily worried about that.
No,
I guess you are correct in that Heart, to a certain point, wants to be able to get its actions out of the way. I was going to say,
because it kind of needs to play its actions to get... basically the whole idea is that we're going to blow up the Heart and key charge, right? That's typically the idea of the Heart deck, is we blow it up by ourselves, and then we key charge, right?
Well, I wouldn't say key charge. You're looking for a double key cheat as your ideal situation.
Right.
But in order to, or forge your second key and then be able to forge that last key with a key cheat ahead as the final piece. I think that, honestly, Heart is going to be fine with this because I basically play my action and a creature and I can discard everything else. Heart, for the most part, I don't know if it really cares about being able to... It cares about cycling and getting to Heart fast enough. That would be the key piece that I would see here. But I don't think it really cares about playing mass amounts because, fine, you go ahead and you get over your...
To do what the deck wants to do during that last turn, if I play Cope, let's just say my opponent's getting ready to execute I'm going to blow up Heart and then key cheat.
Oh, sure. If you're talking about playing it at the... But that's the real trick against Heart, is you have to drop this at the exact precise right time.
Sure.
I think that you can see 2 of these as uncommon out, which makes it progressively harder to deal with. We saw the taunt that came from the evil. Now, if you're playing evil, you're not going to see this because you find all evil. But I don't know. I think that it's able to be dealt with. Once Heart's out, if you don't have artifact control, that Heart player can take their time to be able to set up their win con, and they can deal with Culp. They can deal with Culp very easily.
But I'm just saying, like, if you can get this at the right time, it can mess up a Heart.
Sure.
Get this at the right time, it can mess up a combo deck. Get this at the right time, it can mess with a lot of things, because if you can only play one action a turn, you know what I mean, you're struggling. And then on the other side, me as the player, I'm not struggling so much because I can just play my game as normal. Again, this is that idea of strategically taking the game of Keyforge away from your opponent. Right? You can still play, but I'm going to limit you on what you can and cannot play. So
yeah, there's a huge delta that's in your favor. That's for
right.
sure.
So let's move to Tanawa.
Yeah, 310.
We've gone through Tanawa, I do believe, before. 4 power, 1 armor, beast creature. Fight Reap. Put a creature from your discard pile on top of your deck.
So this is our rare.
Yep.
Evil Twin. That's important to know. So it's going to show up a lot less. For me, I think it's slow. It's essentially a regrowth. So if you're setting up for the next turn and you know what you're going to be drawing a card and you know what else is in your hand, I'm fine with that if it matches the card that you're pulling. So I'm okay with this. It has a both fight and reap. So most of the time I'm just going to be reaping and doing this, but I'm not super wowed by it. I'm not really worried. It's not a detriment like Culp was with the evil version. What are your thoughts?
It's okay. I do like the idea that I'm getting a creature back. It could be a creature that, again, deck dependent. It could be important to my game plan. Maybe it's Culp. Maybe I need him back so I can stop something. You know what I mean?
Sure.
So, I mean, is it going to have its place? Yes. Does it lead you to the promised land? No.
Yeah, it's not game breaking. I'm not terribly worried about it.
So, let's move on to regular Tanawa.
Yeah, regular Tanawa, cards 329, 8 power, 2 armor beast. So this is really interesting in that there was a big switch from 4 power, 1 armor. And I thought that the evil to regular versions would be similar to this because that's how they kind of introduced it. And I think it was more ability-wise, some similarities. But 8 power, 2 armor beast, fight reap, destroy a friendly creature, and gain 1 amber.
Now, I haven't looked at a lot of the destroy effects. I'm sure there's got to be somewhere in there. And I'm trying to remember past episodes. I don't remember a ton of destroy effects in the set.
I don't see a ton that are here. I'm trying to go through.
Because in past sets, be like, yeah, I'll blow up my Ember Imp, or yeah, I'll blow up my, you know what I mean? I'll blow up this creature that has this awesome destroyed effect. And, do things to you. Not seeing a ton of awesome destroyed effects in the set.
Yeah, there's one that's jumping out, and it's just okay. There's nothing game breaking for sure. I'm not seeing any others that I'm super excited. Yeah, there's 2. There are literally 2 destroyed effects that I saw through all of the Unfathomable. I won't spoil that for Z and for Dan,
right.
But I would argue that Tanawa, I don't think that the gaining 1 amber is going to make a huge difference. And seeing it in the rare slot, I'm not terribly worried about seeing it show up and be a killer deciding factor for the deck.
Yeah, so it'd be nice if you had taunt or something.
Oh yeah, it'd be real nice. It would have some effect.
Yeah.
Again, if you need to get that 1 extra amber to get to check, fine. But
all right, let's go to Tamawa of the Glow. You want to read this one?
Sure. Tamawa of the Glow, 3 power, 0 armor, Aquan. With a tide effect, reap. If the tide is high, exhaust an enemy creature, and your opponent discards a random card from their hands. And this, Tamawa, actually ends up being the other uncommon. So it's the uncommon Evil Twin.
See,
what's your thoughts?
I like him. I know Z and Dan are going to say he doesn't, getting rid of a random card out of your opponent's hand is a crapshoot. It's a gambling game, but I'm a degenerate gambler. I want to spin the wheel every single time, no matter how, you know what I mean? Like, there's times where I know I shouldn't, but I have to. I gotta spin the wheel. You know what I mean? I gotta spin the wheel. And again, it's the 2 mechanics I've been looking for more of in one card. So I dig the card. I think it's great. Not only am I getting rid of a card from your hand, so I'm taking away some delta out of your hand, I'm also exhausting a creature. So again, I'm taking away pieces of your delta, influencing your decision on what you're going to do next turn. I dig it.
Yeah, I've definitely seen with both MM and here with Dark Tidings that there's a number of effects that we saw from previous sets that are being combined. Mm-hmm. So I'm not sad to see this. I want to see a deck that will have tide effects to raise it pretty easily versus me taking chains. Looking at some of the decks that I've had access to, I think there's some great cards and I'm super excited about a deck. And then I look and go, there's really no way to raise the tide. So I am still looking for a deck that can actually have a combination of actually raise the tide with cards and have some of those cards.
See, I'm not sure, and that's why I think where this set's going to be kind of strange. Because you're going to, obviously, you want the tide to be in your favor for most of these decks, right?
Yeah, if you're playing Dark Tidings, you want it to be in your deck. If you're playing
Dark Tidings.
Yeah, but if you're playing Dark Tidings against Dark Tidings, there are some Dark Tidings decks that really don't raise the tide. They don't have those cards. And so they're dependent on it. Right. They may have some great actions, but then there's other decks that just raise it willy-nilly. I think that if you're playing out of set, you're going to see a lot more power with some of these because it stays. I also don't see a lot of the Dark Tidings decks. I think that we as players have to be aware of what you're making as a choice with playing raise the tide. I don't think that you can just go ahead and say, I'm playing one card, so I'm going to raise the tide for that. I think that is a bad move most of the time, and we have to be aware that you need to have some major effect in order to really decide to take.
I think this actually sounds like an episode we should do in a couple weeks about the tide. Because with the most tide cards, you're also taking away other things, right? You're not going to have this card because now you have a card that raises the tide, and where does that point of diminishing return reach? So I think that's a topic for another day. I will write that down as I write that down.
It is in the show notes.
It will be in the show notes. Let's go through Tamwa of the Glow, the regular version.
Card 348, Tamwa of the Glow. 3 power, 0 armor, Aquan. It is an uncommon creature with a tide reap effect. Exhaust a creature. If the tide is high, draw a card for each exhausted enemy creature.
So now this all depends on how many exhausted enemy creatures you have.
Yeah.
So I mean, again, dependent on what's I've kind of saved Unfathomable. I haven't gone and looked through all of them. It really now is dependent on how many creatures you can exhaust while it's your turn.
Well, picture this: they need to have creatures out. So sometimes you're not going to have control over that. Sometimes you won't have those cards to be able to exhaust. I think this is at least worth 1 because you get to exhaust a creature first and then draw a card. So I have no problem with a card that in an uncommon slot that says reap. So I'm getting an amber and I'm drawing a card. That's decent. If I can get more than 1, it's good. I like more, but I don't know how often that's going to be happening.
What's nice is it happens on a reap effect. I think that's the biggest thing, that it happens on a reap effect, not on a fight effect, not on an action. It is a reap effect. So, I mean, a reap effect is just a bonus to anything you were getting. Now, that being said, Home Skillet is a 3 power, so again, he gets kicked, and all of a sudden he's in your discard pile.
Would you rather have the aspect of discarding a random card or drawing a card?
Again, this depends on the deck. What is your deck trying to do? Does your deck want cards in its hand? Is it trying to go for that Data Forge? I would rather take the possibility of taking outs away from my opponent. Even though it's on a dice roll, I would rather have that.
Yeah, outside of autoencoder, I would rather have the Evil Twin here. I'm with you. And the reason being is most of the time, I have a 1/3 chance at drawing into my house.
And not only that, the Evil Twin exhausts something and gets rid of a card.
They both do.
The other one lets you discard a card?
No, the
It
regular
lets you
one,
draw a card for each exhausted enemy
but
creature.
it says exhausted creature.
Oh, it does. Okay.
Yeah. So both are getting the exhaust. You're either getting a draw or you're getting a discard. I lean towards a discard because most of the time what happens when I draw cards is this is so typical with Library of Babel. Draw, and it's a card that I would get because I can't play it anyway.
Yeah, it's out of house, so it doesn't matter.
Correct. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And so for me, I take the discard for my opponent because that has a...
But now, if we have the evil Taniwa, but you can't have the evil in the good version.
Yeah.
Long story. But if that were if you had that possibility, you could put a creature back on top of your deck and then draw him and then play him. So that would be a nice little combo that you actually won't see because it won't exist. But let's go through. Oh boy, Wookolia.
Yeah, you did. Well done.
I try. I use my sounds. I sound it out. Wookolia. 3 power, 0 armor beast. Reap. You can exalt Wookolia. Your opponent's keys cost +4 Ember during your next turn.
And this falls as the common slot. So, out of the cards that we went through, Flamegill, Guiltspine, Netcaster, Horde Sinan, and then Wookolia are all the commons. My initial thought is, again, I like key costs being +4, and I like that I'm doing it for a Reap. I think that it's great that it's not symmetrical, so it's just for my opponent. The downside is that it's an Exalt and it's only a 3 power, so I'm a little sad about that. But in the key spot where my opponent is pushing, I will definitely send them to +4 and extend the game 1 extra turn.
But let's talk about normal Wookolia, not the evil twin.
All right, the final card, 367 Wookolia, 3 power, 0 armor beast, Reap, keys cost +2 Amber during your opponent's next turn, common creature.
So either +2 or +4, but the +2 is going to net you what? -1 Ember because you're exalting the critter?
Yeah, so you're both are on Reap. So you're either reaping for +2 with nothing against you, or you're going to reap for +4, but you're exalting.
Yeah, which is basically kind of just store. I mean, exalting is not bad in certain situations. I get the exalt, but I mean, you kind of are just creating that Ember bank for your opponent I shouldn't even say if, I should say when they finally board clear. So
yeah, this is the one where I'm going to lean towards more of the good. We'll call it good versus the evil twin. I think overall, Unfathomable, I would much rather have the evil twin versions than what we're calling our good. But I will throw in for the final in with Wookolia as the good version.
Where
do you stand, Wookie?
I like the good version a little bit better. I'm not going to turn my nose up at the evil version.
Okay.
But you got to remember the evil version, 1 in 12 decks is the evil twin. So I think you have to look at that, on most of these, your good version is going to be the version you're going to see. More times than not. So, let's get into the rest of the rares. Just not a ton to go through here. I think we went through a good chunk of them already. But we got Drawn Down, which is, I believe this is a 3-card set, if I'm not mistaken. So I'm just going to say let's go through all 3.
Sure, let's do it.
Because, I mean, they're going to come, it's linked rarity. So, Drawn Down is an action card. Look at the top 3 cards of your opponent's deck. Discard 1. Put 1 on the bottom of their deck. And put 1 on the top of their deck. Yeah, I dig this card.
Yeah, I do. I will give the spoiler that for this set, it is a key cheat, and I enjoy it. Out of the 3, I don't think that this is the card that, in my opinion, has as huge an impact. But placing a card on the bottom, especially being able to decide what it is, it's good. You're getting to look. You're being able to control. I think the ability to recycle your deck when this happens is going to be huge against Unfathomable, but we'll have to see. Should we go on to the next card?
Let's go through. I'm just going to do the next 2 right off the bat because I think I understand what you're talking about. But if you haven't actually, if you're saving yourself too, you might not. But let's go through Dive Deep, which is play Discard the top card of your opponent's deck. Put a creature that shares a house with that card on the bottom of your opponent's deck. I dig that. And then Dark Discovery. Pip of Ember every time you play it. Name 2 cards. Discard the bottom 2 cards of your opponent's deck. If they are the named cards, if they're the named cards, purge Dark Discovery, and forge a key at no cost.
Yeah. So here's where, now that we've gone through it, Dark Discovery has an amber on it. The other 2 do not, for Dive Deep and Drawn Deep. What is a little problematic is that with Drawn Deep, you only get to put 1. And in order for you to have Dark Discovery actually work, you have to go ahead and named, because it says if they are the named cards, you have to have the bottom 2. So if you get one of the 2, that's great, but it's not going to go ahead and forge a key at no cost. So in my opinion, when we're looking at this, Dive Deep is really the 2-card combo, Dive Deep and Dark Discovery. And it's discard the top card of your opponent's deck, put a creature that shares a house with that card on the bottom of its owner's deck. You really need both of them, and we'll have to see. I think this key cheat is not as easy as it looks like.
Yeah, this is going to pair nice with some Logos deck out there, which is going to archive these and then be able to play them. I mean, it's going to have its place. There is going to be a Dark Discovery deck that is a monster. So you just got to wait for it.
There was actually one that was already posted with Logos and Unfathomable on the Facebook group.
Oh, okay.
That had it. So I think that this will show up a little bit more frequently than we're imagining. And with Logos, you can do it.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a free key. I mean, picture that. Forge a key. It is a free key. Cost.
So you can forge a key at the beginning of your turn and then just forge another key.
Yes.
Literally, you forge 2 keys in a turn for 6 Ember, maybe a little more.
All right, shall we go into the Omnipus?
Let's go to the Omnipus. You want to read Omnipus?
Sure. Omnipus it's a very interesting rare. So 8 power, 0 armor, beast. Well played on the 8 power, by the way. Omnipus cannot fight. Play. Discard the top 8 cards of your deck. Play each Tentaclid from your discard pile 1 at a time. Reap. Gain 1 amber for each friendly Tentaclid. And should we read Tentaclid right away?
Yeah, I was going to say, if you want to actually just read Tentaclid.
Card 317, Tentaclid, 3 power, 0 armor, and creature. It is linked, and it is Skirmish, Taunt, Tentaclid cannot reap. So Skirmish, Taunt, 3 power, Tentaclid cannot reap. What are your thoughts on this combo?
I'm interested. Again, I think there's going to be a deck that can pull it off. My question is, do we know the numbers of Tentaclids yet?
Well,
like, is it anywhere between like 3 and or is it I'm going to get Omnipus and then 8 Tentaclids, meaning 9 of my 12 cards are that?
Yeah, it's not just set up at a full 8. Because I have seen decks with Tentaclid that have had less.
Okay.
I've actually gone ahead and gotten a chance to play one with less. It's oddly fun. I don't know what else to say. It's oddly fun. The discard of the top 8 cards of your deck is interesting. But the Tentaclid, putting all these little 3-power skirmish taunters out.
At the same time.
At the same time, it's interesting. Because
meaning you just have a line of taunt.
Correct, but with Omnipus there, you can actually protect it for the next turn to come back and reap to gain for each Tentaclid, and then they can go ahead and fight with the skirmish.
I can't tell if it's too slow or not.
Oh, I think that it's slow, but I think it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely fun, for sure. It's like Plague Rats. They're definitely fun. It just isn't any good.
And I think in the right setup, Plague Rats can actually be decent. Most of the time it falls off as nothing.
Yeah, it's a gimmick.
But correct. And I think that's what we're going to see here with Omnipus and Tentaclid too.
Let's get into Corrode, a card that's been distracting me for a while because it is a few of its kind. Corrode, 1 Ember. Every time you play it, choose 1. Destroy an artifact, destroy an upgrade, destroy a creature with armor. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, the printed amber is nice. You have choice here.
Well, it's one of what now? Do we have 3? This is the 3rd card that can now destroy an upgrade.
Yeah, and so there's very few that had impacted it previously. A little sad with the armor, but it fits definitely with the term for corrode and kind of what you're seeing. So I like this aspect, and artifact destruction.
Artifact destruction, always good.
Yep. Yeah. No, I'm happy.
And if there's no artifact to destroy, you can destroy an upgrade.
Every once in a while, you're going to be stuck with your Sanctum creature that has armor,
and you can just kill him.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. So, like, if there's no artifact, no upgrade, and you have the one Sanctum, then fine, you lose out on the amber. But if nothing else, you're gaining an amber.
I like it.
You have the ability. Yep, I like it.
I think it's a good card. It's hard R. We need more hard R. Cup of water. What? You don't think we need more hard R?
I think we need more hard R, but I really am under the piece of wanting purge for that artifact.
Yeah,
just destroy. Honestly, is limited right now with what's out there. So let's go into Cup of Water. Cup of Water card 319 has an amber printed on it. It is a rare action with play effect: stun each cyborg creature and each robot creature.
So right now we've figured out Unfathomable does not like Sanctum. And now they don't like Logos either.
Yep.
So, very limited card, but maybe not because of how important Logos has been in the past 5 sets. Almost.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at this. It's got the printed amber, fine, but I think take that Smarty Pants. It's a specific targeted hate, and I don't like to see that for the gameplay.
Hey, listen, take that Smarty Pants has won me games. No joke.
Sure.
No joke.
If we go ahead and throw 1,000 Keyforge players out there, yeah, it's going to hit, but I think consistency, it's not there.
No. Let's move into Deep Priest Glebby, 5 power, 0 armor, Aquin. After you play an Aquin creature, exhaust an enemy creature. Here we go. This is what I'm talking about. I dig it.
Yeah, this is Wookie's deck right here. Send all of his Deep Priest Glebbies
absolutely.
to him. I like that it's a constant effect, and I can see this. I mean, it has the ability to stick around for a little bit with 5 power. Yes, it is one-sided. Yep.
Oh, man. I dig it. Again, I am a sucker for this kind of, again, it's what I've been asking for since AOA. More discard, more enemy discard, more let me control what my opponent does. I think that's really been missing in Keyforge is the interaction between players, besides for the Steal 1 Ember. Or Capture 2 Ember, or whatever. Besides for Ember, there really hasn't been a ton of, let me mess with your board. But we had a Rise. Or, I'm sorry, not a Rise, Hysteria. And that's probably one of the few cards out there that does some persistent hunting. But again, not in the same house, so you're not seeing a ton of them.
Well, Hysteria is going to return to hand. You have Mind Over Matter. I mean, there's a couple that are out there.
Sure.
But, yeah, Persistence Hunting is going ahead and exhausting, so you're looking at potentially 2 different pieces. I don't know. I do like this. I am fine with Deep Priest, and I think that it could work well with what I'm seeing from the Aucklands. So,
man,
we'll see how it comes out.
She might become my new favorite card. I don't know. Move over Pestergrove.
Oh, you're going to get rid of Pestergrove? It was such a short-lived...
Pestergrove stan. I like Pestergrove. Let's go through Effigy of, Melaruk?
Melaruk. So item card 321. This is an item artifact rare. So with item, after an enemy creature reaps, put an awakening counter on Effigy of Melaruk. When there are 6 or more awakening counters on Effigy of Melaruk, move it to a flank of your battle line as a creature with 100 power and 100 armor. Consider its text box blank.
I'm sorry, I have to read this again. Hold on. After an enemy creature reaps. Okay, so reap. Put an awakening counter on it. Got it. When you have 6 or more awakening counters, this now becomes a critter. Mm-hmm. It has 100 power and 100 armor.
Yep.
And that's it.
Yep.
Like everything inside of me wants to say, dude, that's kind of dope. But it's going to take you, what? Well, after an enemy creature reaps?
Yeah, so it's not necessarily that you get to go ahead and are waiting 6 turns. This is an artifact, so they don't have artifact destruction. I think that it
why does this card, and tell me, why does this card feel like a direct jab at Dan? Well, I'm pretty sure Dan on the show has said, it doesn't matter if I had a creature with 100 power and 100 armor, it still dies to a board wipe.
It does.
It's true. He's not wrong.
There's a lot that goes ahead and impacts this that can frankly purge the most powerful creature. I mean, there are things that can deal with this very, very, very easily.
And not only that, you got your opponent just reaped for 6.
Correct. So you have a reap for 6. That's a problem.
And you just all you got out of it was the shitty t-shirt.
Correct. So I think because it has a text box that's blank, you have either fight 1 creature or reap for 1.
Right.
And so that, especially in a Keyforge game where we're looking at what houses being called, 4 times roughly?
Yeah.
You're not getting value out of this. There is one caveat that I want to go ahead, and I know that we've already gone through it, but I'm going to say, for me, this screams a tie-up with Untamed. So card number 412 from Untamed, Waste Not. Destroy a friendly creature, draw cards equal to half that creature's power, rounding up. And it's got a printed amber. That's the piece. That's the piece that I see with Effigy.
Draw 50 cards.
Draw 50. You're drawing your deck. That's what's there. I think that would be fun. That is, I hope that it becomes a Crucible. What is it? One of the
that Crucible. That might break. That might actually break.
No.
TCO.
I'm not talking about that. It's one of the goals that you basically want.
Oh, okay. One of the gamer awards or whatever.
Yeah,
the achievements.
I think that would be fun. I think that I could see it. And it actually shouldn't be terribly difficult to pull off. And then you're sad when your opponent just goes ahead and drew their whole deck.
Mm-hmm.
But if there's nothing else in that deck, it's a slow piece. And again, they just reap for 6. So either they forged a key or they went ahead and
won the game.
Yeah. I do think that when you're looking at this, it's a cross. So if it comes out early, that's a huge help because across the game, they're most likely going to reap 6 different times. If it comes later, it may not have that impact.
Let's go through Flash Freeze. Pip-November, every time you play it, for the remainder of the turn, after you play another card, exhaust a creature.
You're liking this. I know you are.
I am, but it's another rare, meaning it's not going to come with the priest, more than likely. I'll probably have to put it in my DOK list of like Deep
Search
Priest and Flash Freeze.
Yeah.
I'm a sucker for this kind of mechanic. I do think this kind of thing is powerful. Let's face it, if I tap down your Star Alliance, you're not playing extra cards or house cheating because your Star Alliance is tapped down.
Yep.
They can't do Star Alliance things if they're not ready and available to you. Right? Your star quarterback is only good if he shows up to the game. So, I know this is only for 1 turn, but 1 turn does mean a lot in this game. Especially when games only go, 7 turns most of the time?
Yeah, they're lasting a bit longer right now. But
so, send your Deep Priest Glebby Flash Freeze next to I am _ the WOOKIE.
See, that's what's interesting. I agree with you in that there's 2 rares. I don't think we're going to see all of those, but I think that you could see, Flash Freeze.
You'll see them.
Or I think you could see Flash Freeze or Deep Priest Glebby. That's where I'm.
Yeah, you'll probably see Deep Freeze Glebby, but it'll only have 3 creatures in it, and Glebby is one of them.
All right, shall we go on to the next card? 323, General Sherman. I really feel like Civil War quote here as a 5th grade teacher. I'm gonna abstain though. 10 power, 0 armor, beast. General Sherman deals no damage when fighting. Really? Play. Purge each other creature. If General Sherman leaves play, return to play each creature purged this way. exhausted and under its owner's control. All right. What are your thoughts on this rare creature, Wookie?
It's one of those I gotta read again. Okay, so he deals no damage when fighting. Okay, whatever. Purge each other creature. If General Sherman leaves play, return to play each creature purged this way. So when you play him, you purge every creature.
All creatures.
But they come back exhausted and under your opponent's control. Under its owner's control.
Yeah. So basically, if I'm reading it right, they're coming back exhausted and they're under whoever.
So basically, whoever had them, how
gets them back.
Boy, is this card going to cause confusion because he only brings back the creatures that left play from his effect.
Correct. So this is where, do you have a...
Now I'm going to have like a separate purged pile for General Sherman.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, because otherwise I'm going to see play effects. I'm going to see game state that are going to be impacted negatively, where people aren't going to remember. What did I purge? Was this here? Should this come back from General Sherman? Should it not?
Yeah. He's a rare, so we probably won't have to think about it too much.
Then let's move on.
He's not horrid. He's not bad. He is a board clear in a pinch. A little bit of that utility player, but that's about it. He can reap.
What's interesting is he's not just a board clear. He's a board clear purge. Yeah. So in the right scenario, there are certain cards that want to cycle back.
This is true.
And in this case, while it's delayed because it's just 10 power, you can potentially stall that game out maybe for a turn or two until they can get their response or kill it off. And that may be just enough to hold that key creature that they were hoping to cycle.
Is return to play the same as put into play?
No.
So on a return to play, I don't get any of my critters' effects.
Yeah, my understanding is
that's my understanding of it too. Yeah. I wouldn't get any effects that my creatures, because that would be a hot mess. Oh god. Could you imagine purging everything and then 15 creatures come back and you've got to put all of those?
No, because you don't want to be able to do that. What's going to end up happening is the active player gets to decide, and so the active player would take all of your play effects. They basically pooch those and go ahead and make it so that it's advantage to them. No. No, I dig it. I think he's okay. I don't think he's the worst thing in the world. We all need more board clears. Yeah. I'm fine with it.
I'm fine. He's not horrible. I'm not crying, but he's not exactly making me do backflips. But actually, you know what? He kind of is. I'm okay with General Sherman. The more I read him, the more I'm all right with him. But let's go to Killigog's Trench.
Yeah, nice little artifact rare location. Ooh, another artifact that's a location. At the end of your turn, place one depth counter on Killigog's Trench. Then destroy each creature with power equal to the number of depth counters on Killigog's Trench. And this is a constant ability, so you're gaining this depth charge every single turn.
But it's only going to be effective really up to a certain number.
Correct. It's going to go, if you get it out turn one, it's going to basically kill only ones at that point, and then everything else underneath it. Yeah. So if you actually drop a creature under the number of depth counters after it's there, let's say it's at 3 depth counters, then it's safe.
You can't play your 3s.
No.
Yeah, if it's at 3 depth counters,
then 1 and 2. I can play any 1 and 2, and it's never turn. Yeah, it's never going to go ahead and cycle back.
Right. I was just thinking, does this give more advantage to my opponent? Because if I play it, and at the end of my turn, it's going to kill all 1s, and then I play cards, I guess I could avoid it, but so can they? But am I ahead of them on the creature curve by the time it gets, you know what I mean? Does this give my opponent more of an advantage than I get?
I think that you can see this.
And I don't know if either player is gaining an advantage.
I don't think that this is a breaker of card. I think that it's slow. I think that you're able to predict what's happening here.
Right. And at some point it just becomes useless. So
correct.
Not looking for it, but I'm going to try to figure out a way to break it because I'm interested. Let's go to the Lock Gaboon.
Lock Gaboom. Nice. 3 power, 0 armor. Aquan. Lock Gaboom gets +1 power for each other exhausted creature. If there are 3 or more other exhausted creatures, Lock Gaboom gains skirmish and hazardous. Creature rare. What do you think?
No. Not interested. Like, really not interested.
Deadpan.
Yeah, no. I mean, again, +1 power is just, it's meaningless. It has no effect to him whatsoever. And if there are 3 or more, which is a possibility, he gains skirmish and hazardous 5. So, I mean, basically he runs around and is able to kill one thing a turn. I don't know if I'm excited about that.
No, you're 100% right. I'm perfectly fine with that. All right, let's go on. Card 326.
326, Portal Monger. 4 power, 0 armor. Aquin. While the tide is high, your opponent's keys cost +4.
I like +4.
I mean, who doesn't like +4?
I mean, I'm liking it. It's 4 power, so it's going to be a little bit harder to kill. It's in the rare slots.
Okay, never mind. Because what does it say? While the tide is high, your opponent's keys cost +4. So yeah, they changed the rule on that, right? So your opponent starts their turn, forges a key if possible, but then it has to be done as an action on their turn. So they can't really turn this off, but they kind of can for the promise of key cheats.
Yeah.
You know, if they got a key cheat in their hand, they can technically turn this off by taking
choosing
3
to raise the tide. Yep.
Right, taking 3 chains. So doesn't do much to key cheats, but it continues it kind of going. So I'm not going to turn down +4 to their cost, though. I don't think I'm going to.
No, we'll take it.
Rust Miser.
All right. We don't have all the info, but from what is collected so far, it is a creature that's rare with 5 power. ? For the
It's
armor.
got a squiggle for armor. There's no armor.
So we're going to go 0. Beast. Reap. Exhaust each enemy artifact.
Now, if I exhaust an artifact, does that turn it off?
Only for the actionable artifacts. So things that are constant abilities, no, it has no impact at all.
So things that I actually want to be able to turn off, I just can't, right? Like heart, I can't just turn off heart.
Nope.
So, I don't know. Maybe. I mean, again, it's in the rare slot. I really want to blow things up. There are some, I will always take the blow up. In my opinion, this is meh. I'm not looking for this in a rare slot. I'm not looking for it as a creature. It doesn't do what I need to. It's artifact control, but it's not the artifact control that I want. All right. Here's another one of my... This actually might be my favorite set. It's spawned the most cards that I enjoy. This is...
Sabog's
Thingamabob. 1 pip of Ember every time you play it. Ember every time you play it. I think I just said that. After your opponent forges a key, exhaust each creature they control. Please send all your Unfathomable decks to IAM_the_WOOKIE.
Again, you have an artifact with an amber on it. It's impacting your opponent. So after your opponent forges a key...
Which they don't get a choice in which they do or not. So basically, it's almost forge a key, exhaust your creatures, do nothing for a turn. Have a good day.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say do nothing. Do almost nothing. You're probably still going to get to play, 2 or 3 cards?
No, you're going to be able to play, but you're not going to be able to use your board.
Right.
And I like this.
And in a world where board matters, this isn't Coda anymore. Board matters. Basically, I shut you down for a turn. Have a good day. Please send all your Unfathomable decks to @IAM_the_WOOKIE.
Nice.
This is my house, I think. I love Shadows, but the more I read the Unfathomable, the more I'm like, man, I just dig this house. They do all the stuff I want to do. All right, let's go to, we already did Tanawa.
Yep, so Tiwi-Kiki Kraken.
The Tiwi-Kiki, is this supposed to, okay. This is a play on Taiwa Kiki, is it not?
Question mark.
Taiwakiki has done, not his most. He's most famous now for his director's role in The Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But I believe he also did Thor Ragnarok.
He's
a
director from what I've seen, but
right.
I don't know much more about him than that. So.
Well, Taiwakiki.
Okay.
So, anyways, what does the Kraken do?
Sure. Card 330, 12 power, 0 armor beast. Rare creature with a play effect. Exhaust 2 friendly, unfathomable creatures. If you do not destroy Taiwakiki Kraken, fight/reap. Deal 2 damage to a creature with 2 splash.
So basically, I have to have 2 creatures out. He's a dead card.
Yeah. You have to have 2
I have to have 2 unfathomable creatures out. Friendly ones at that.
Yep.
Dead card. I don't even know if he even gets to the board. Does it even matter? Because he deals 2 damage to a creature with... Oh, well, okay, that's kind of a good power, but I don't know. If you ask me, dead card.
I think that overall it's going to be a dead card. I'm thinking of a friendly dragon from Brobnar where you got to play 7 amber.
The Khalifi.
Correct. And I know some people love Khalifi, but when we're looking at Kraken, again, maybe it's going to be fun to play. I think that it's going to be a dead card overall because it's going to be too hard to pull off.
That being said, this card has sparked a lot of, not really controversy, but I guess question marks from the community. You go ahead and say it because I don't need another voice record. I don't need what's her name making another voice recording of me mispronouncing things.
Oh, goodness. Okay, card 331 is an action rare. It's Thalassophia. Now you're making me. Thalassophobia.
Thalassophobia, right? The fear of water?
Yeah, Thalassophobia, which has an amber. Play, discard the top 10 cards of your opponent's deck.
A lot of people don't know what to think about this card. I kind of like it. This breaks up quite a bit. Even though, you might be helping your opponent. I mean, there's a good chance that you're going to help your opponent cycle, but there's also a good chance, especially in competitive play, where most cards in the deck are good, you're getting rid of 10 of them. I don't really see how this is a bad thing.
So you have the amber that's printed, but frankly, our good decks cycle so quickly for the most part. I think efficiency has turned up quite frequently in most of those decks.
If I can get rid of even 5 of those monster cards, I think I'm pretty happy.
But then you're cycling back through. I think that if it's hit early, fine, you go ahead and drop them so that you're down, to 26 cards. And that's the best case. Plus, then you have 6 that's in your hand, so 20 cards. But I don't see this as a good card. I really don't. I think that discarding to get your opponent to either cycle or to be at the very end, if it's the final 10 cards or it's the final, let's say 12, and so it leaves them with 2, they're just cycling and getting back to it.
But how long, what is the average deck like? I shouldn't even say average. What does a solid deck take to cycle? 3 turns? 4 turns? I know most decks aren't going through themselves twice.
Correct.
So most games are lasting, 7 turns, 8 turns?
I would place it more in that realm of 7, 8, maybe a little bit higher now with MM.
Sure. So if it's taking you at least 3/4 of that time to cycle, most good decks are taking that time to cycle. So let's just say it's taking you 5 turns to cycle. Right? If I cannot deal, like I said, out of 10 cards, if I can hit 5 monsters, and I understand what you're saying, like they're just going to cycle again, but now remember, they have to go through that deck again. So now, where they would normally go through this kind of rhythm, where they've kind of weeded out a lot of bad cards or dead cards that they've just played to get out of the way. If you can hit 5 good ones that are affecting their gameplay, I think this card's a win.
I think our top tier decks, you have a lot less cards that are poor cards. And so they're perfectly fine keeping it. I hear sheep screaming in my ear of, I'll take the luck. I'll go ahead and discard. I just don't see this. I don't know. For me, it's not my style of play, and I'm not seeing that.
I think this fits fantastic with what the house wants to do. The house wants to be a house that
It's just disrupting.
is disruptive. I think this is perfectly disruptive. I like it. I don't think it's going to be. It's not going to break anything, right?
So what's interesting is I'm thinking about punctuated equilibrium. Okay, discard your hand, and then you're going ahead and grabbing another hand. So 6 cards.
Right.
And here, you're really looking at, they're increasing it from 6 to 10.
Right.
But the problem why I think punctuated has more power is people save up. They lead into houses where they may have more cards. Here, this is just discarding the top card. So it's completely random. I might as well say discard the bottom 10 cards of the deck.
Right.
Is that going...
No, it doesn't matter if it's from the top.
Cards at the end.
It doesn't matter if it's from the top or the bottom.
It doesn't.
But the big deal here is I'm getting rid of pieces, right? So if I go and let's say you're building a puzzle and I take 10 of your pieces and go hide them, that's going to stop you or at least hinder you from putting together that puzzle.
If you are,
this is the same thing.
Yeah, if you're looking at a combo deck, I can see where this can be pretty disruptive.
I don't even think it's a combo deck.
No, but
man, how many times do you say, "Man, I was digging for my board clear. I was just getting rid of cards to get to my board clear. If I find the board clear, I win. And I just miraculously found it. Now, if I play this and I go, oh, sorry, there goes your board clear.
I think this is the piece where maybe I mispronounced, but when we're looking at combo decks, this has a larger impact on. If you are playing a player who just has a deck with quality cards, they could really care less. And so
I disagree completely with that.
But I think then we're going to have to play it and see how it comes out.
Because I think really, like I said, in a really solid, good competitive deck, every card in that deck is good. And if I can get rid of 10 of those pieces, that's going to give me possibly, I'm not going to say it's going to happen every time, but it's possibly going to give me what I need to close out the game.
See, that's interesting because coming off of KFPL, I would almost make... I played with some decks that were well above the decks that I have in my normal collection. And they're good, but even those decks had dead cards. And there was a higher amount than what I necessarily thought of. Again, still very, very, very good decks. They were phenomenal decks. But
that's why I'm saying if I get 5, even if I get 5, I'm happy.
But I don't know. I think that you're looking at impacting a combo player, and I think that some of the combo players have pieces to retrieve them. So if they're going back in the deck, maybe that's the better piece, is if they're at the very end, you actually cycle them back to have a full deck.
I get what you're saying, like they have the pieces to retrieve them, but now they have to expend those resources to go get them instead of playing it and then going to get it to play it another time to hurt me again. This I'm only getting cut once, as opposed to getting cut twice. I don't know. I think it has, and again, it is a luck-based thing, so sometimes you play it and you're gonna swing for the fences. And sometimes you're gonna play it and you're gonna whiff on all 3 balls and just are gonna have to take a seat and take your L. But the fact of the matter is, I think more times than not, this guy comes to bat and at least gets on base. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I'm going to say let's play it because I don't know until I get some experience. And I get these decks here, but I've not played it. I have not played this card, so I don't know.
When we meet in the IRL, we'll figure it out. But let's move on to the shows.
I can see you because this is your house. I can see being able to play this. All right, our next one we have talked about before. I'm
the chosen
certain,
one.
But yeah, card 332, the chosen one, creature rare, 9 power, 0 armor, Aquan. Instead of readying creatures they control during their ready card step, your opponent deals 1 damage to the chosen one for each exhausted creature they control. Now that you've seen the house, what do you think of this card?
I still I liked it back then. I know Z and I think Z and Dan weren't a big fan of it. I liked it then. I like it now. I'm getting 9 critters.
Yeah, no, I'm liking this. It slows up the game. It can be an off house that I'm playing, but again, that can force or funnel someone into a different house. So
right.
I like this,
so
and I'm fine with it.
It's my style, and I'm really digging Unfathomable, and yeah. So let's. What are your thoughts on it? We'll get your. What did you think, real quick?
Yeah, again, I just said that I like it. I think it's solid, and I think it gets you to funnel someone into a different.
I'm sorry, I'm still hot and heavy over the phobia, so I was kind of out of it.
It's okay. we're gonna play. We'll find thalassophobia. It'll be interesting, but we'll see. All right,
let's
the next
get
card.
into. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, you go ahead with that one.
The Susarus. Is that Rus? We'll go with that. It is the artifact rare ship. So action, exhaust a friendly unfathomable creature. If you do, exhaust up to 3 creatures or artifacts.
Exhaust a friendly unfathomable creature. If you do, exhaust up to 3 creatures or artifacts. This I don't like so much because it's a 1-for-1 trade. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's slow in that you have to first play the artifact, then you have to come back. It's an action.
Well, even then, like it's an action. So yeah, it's slow.
You're giving up 1 reap, so you're giving up 1 amber in order to go ahead and exhaust 3 creatures on the other side.
Right.
And there are times where you have the choice of the artifact, so I appreciate creatures or artifacts.
Oh wait, no. I am coming ahead on this one. Exhaust. I thought it was exhaust 3 to exhaust 3.
No, it's 1
exhaust
to 3.
1 friendly creature. 1 friendly unfathomable creature. If you do, exhaust up to 3 creatures or artifacts. Actually, I don't mind this one anymore. I thought it was 3 for 3, so I'm like, man, is it slow? And I'm not getting a positive out of this.
Yeah,
this
okay.
I don't mind. It's gonna have its place. But that's about it. I'm not. It's rare, so I don't have to see it too often. So that's okay.
Let's go on to the last 2 cards then. So card 334, Voice of Rakuzel, is a 5-power, 0-armor Aquan with a tide effect. Its creature, while the tide is high, each friendly creature gets +1 power and +1 armor. And then while the tide is low, each enemy creature gets +1 power and +1 armor.
Yeah, this seems real bad because, again, now your opponent's going to get to oh, hey, look, all my guys have +1 armor and +1 power.
Yeah, and they get to determine that at the start of their turn.
Yeah,
so I agree. This is bad.
Too much. Moving on to Whirlpool.
All right. Whirlpool, card 335, location, artifact rare. At the end of each player's turn, that player gives control of the creature on their right flank to their opponent and moves it to that player's left flank.
So I give you whatever's on my right and you move it to your left.
Yep, so it's going to continue to cycle. It'll be with you for a little bit. And, if you have a line, it's going to be there for a while.
I'm not sure if I like this or not. Like, I see some, tricky plays where, I've just loaded a buttload of Ember up on this guy, and now I'm going to hand him off to you.
Mm-hmm.
But I also see my opponent doing the same thing. Of going, oh, okay, so the guy on my right, I need to load up as much Ember as I can onto him to give it to my opponent.
Yeah, it's interesting that it's at end of each player's turn.
Yeah.
So you're really cycling 2 creatures. It's yours, and then it's your opponent's by the time it comes back to you. So be aware of that. This is going to be a little bit heady of a play.
Yeah. I don't know if I like it or not. I don't think I do.
Yeah, the symmetry is a little bit troubling. I think it's going to really depend on what you're playing against. Be careful with Saurian and be careful with Sanctum.
Yeah, I think it's too matchup dependent. You know what I mean? Because if you're not going against Saurian and Sanctum, hey, go ham. You know what I mean? But if you are, it's I don't know how I feel about all that. So that's gonna do it for us today. We made it through another episode, another day, another at least half of a house done.
Yeah, and go check out Z and Dan, who are going to go and run you through the uncommons and the commons, which you'll see a little bit more on through play.
I don't think they should go through any of the special rarities because they're going to go through the uncommons and commons, so you shouldn't hear any doubles, but you might. So just be prepared for that. I am liking the Aquans. Again, send all your Aquan decks to... I'll put a P.O. box or something up. I don't know. We'll figure it out, but... I dig them. What were your thoughts so far on Archons? Or I should say Unfathomable, because they're not the Archons.
Yeah, for Unfathomable, I will say, first of all, that there are more creatures that have the Aquan title. That's keyword, which is really nice, because I think it plays well with Unfathomable. I am still kind of stuck on the Evil Twins. I think I really like this house for its Evil Twins. I think overall, I don't know. There's nothing that's really jumping out at me as I'm super excited. You got a little bit of key cost increase. You got a little bit of artifact destruction. Technically, we have the board wipe with General Sherman, but again, you're not looking at all of these are going to be showing up.
Right.
You may end up with 1 or 2 of these.
These are rare, so I think most of the time you're going to get 1. 2 is kind of going to be your ceiling. I mean, every now and again you'll get an outlier that gets like 3, but that's about it.
I mean, honestly, I really like Effigy and going ahead and playing Effigy with Waste Not. So if you get a nice deck with Waste Not and Effigy, just let me know. That would be fun to be able to pull off.
I think there's some good combo pieces like all to be had in here.
Yeah, I think the drawn down, the dive deep and Dark Discovery is nice. And I've seen people having a blast with Omnipus and Tentaclid. So that's well done on the game designer's pot to be able to put out some of these combo pieces and things to have fun with.
Absolutely. But guys, that's going to do it for us today. Don't forget, we have our weeklies going on. Thursdays is Chainbound. It's just regular Chainbound.
Yep, regular Chainbound.
Sundays is Sealed. Tuesdays, Sunday's Sealed. No, Sunday is Chainbound. Yep. But we have the Archons Corner Arms Race Declaration, blah, blah, blah. I forgot. What is it called again?
You have an 80 SAS cap that's been put in for this month. So leaderboard is both Sunday and Tuesday. So those are the 2 days. Sunday happens.
And Tuesday is Sealed.
Archon is Sunday. Tuesday is Sealed. And then Thursday is just more fun, Chainbound with Archon. Wednesday, we also have Lokiar, who's running his Pink Bunny Games, Sealed. So lots of events to be able to participate in during the week. And I will tell you, I came out, was that Sunday or Tuesday? There was like 19 people there. So we got some great individuals who are consistently out and just having fun. A lot of people chatting and bouncing in the tables to talk. So if you haven't participated, come out. We've had some new people recently, and it's great to see new individuals to share the love of this game with them.
Absolutely. So with that being said, we're getting out of here. Look for part 2 to come later on this week. And we'll see y'all next time.
Slow motion, yeah. I feel like an astronaut in the ocean. Ay,